Hi, church family. Just checking in to say hello and that I'm praying for each of you. Over the next few weeks, as we are physically distant from each other, I think it's going to be especially important to remain connected in many different ways. And as we navigate these challenging times, I want you to know that I am still here, that your church family still exists, even across the miles. I'm reminded in this time of one of my favorite Hebrew Bible passages, the story of Ruth and Naomi. The story goes, Naomi and her husband Elimelech and their 2 sons move from Bethlehem to Moab to avoid a famine. After they have moved to Moab, Elimelech dies, leaving Naomi with her sons Mahlon and Chilion. Shortly after her sons have married, they both die, leaving Naomi alone. And after losing so much, Naomi and her daughters-in-law Ruth and Orpah decide to return to Moab, her homeland, as they have heard that the famine has been lifted. And Naomi turns to her daughters-in-law and she urges them to return to their families, that she will be okay to continue without them. The heartbreak is palpable as they weep at the prospect of being separated. And still, Naomi tells them to go home. Orpah listens to her while Ruth clings to her mother-in-law, saying, "Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." And so often in this story, I have thought about how Ruth showed her love by staying with her mother-in-law. But in this time of social distancing, I'm thinking about how Naomi, allowing her daughter-in-law Orpah to go back to her family with her blessing and her love, was a true act of selflessness. I think Naomi knew that love was strong enough to cross the miles, that even if Orpah wasn't physically close, that the love would remain. It is this kind of eternal love that I believe God offers. Without condition, without do's and don'ts, we are loved and we are held. God is with us in the moments when the doctor calls with the bad news. God is with us when we are fearful about if we will have enough. God is with us as we worry about our loved ones. God is with us as we worry about ourselves. Where we go, God goes. Where we lodge, God lodges. For many of us, we are dealing with significant grief, canceled vacations and events, things that we spent months planning and saving for. We are dealing with isolation and a lack of human touch and connection. We are dealing with worries about money and resources. And while I don't believe God causes any of these things, we can cling to the fact that God walks with us as we face the challenges we are facing. In closing, I offer you this blessing, A Blessing for the Distance by Jan Richardson. It is a mystery to me how, as the distance between us grows, the larger this blessing becomes, as if the shape of it depends on absence, as if it finds its form not by what it can cling to, but by the space that arcs between us. As this blessing makes its way, first it will cease to measure itself by time. Then it will release how attached it has become to this place where we have lived, where we have learned to know one another in proximity and presence. And next, this blessing will abandon the patterns in which it had moved, the habits that helped it recognize itself, the familiar pathways it traced. And finally, this blessing will touch its fingers to your brow, your eyes, your mouth, and it will hold your beloved face in both of its hands. And then it will let you go. It will loose you into your life. It will leave each hindering thing until all that breathes between us is blessing, and all that beats between us is grace. Amen.